What's up, everyone? I am Justin with Is It Scary Wisconsin. I'm joined here tonight by my good friend Jenna and her boyfriend Gage, my best friend. We are reviewing, in Is It Scary Wisconsin fashion, Abandoned Haunted House Complex from Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. Now, we did take quite the journey this past weekend. All 2 hours and 20 minutes from Green Bay down to the abandoned complex at the behest, at the request of Matt, the operations manager on site there at Abandon, that we come down and give the haunt is it scary flavor. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, had a good time, had lots of fun. People there are awesome. But how does it compare? How does it review? How does it break down? Jenna, Abandoned Haunted House Complex. Lay it on us, girl. Give us the review.
We got there at a really good time, so we could see their character walkout, which
The
was
the Rising.
the rising. Thank you. I wasn't sure what to expect of it, but it was very cool. Just the theatrics of all of it. It was very, very entertaining. And we were kind of close to the front, so when they had the little fires, it warmed us up a little bit. It was quite a chilly night. Um, I thoroughly enjoyed the woods. We started with that trail, and I thought the trail was very, very well done. It was dark, like so dark, because they have all the fences up, so any sunlight that might be fading away still, like there's just nothing. You can hardly see in front of you. And they have little spotlights that help you see certain things. But that made it so hard to see any of the actors until they were right there for their scare. So that just added to the whole atmosphere and scenery of it. I actually gave their scenery a 25 out of 25. And the sounds, I thought it was good. I really liked the trail. I think that was a good thing that we started off with.
Yeah, the outdoor
Um,
experience is called Stalker, for anybody wondering.
yes. And then they have the two houses that kind of merge into one another.
The
The
ambush and
first,
hysteria.
yes, that first one we went into was really cool. And the intro to it was very fun and interactive. And I gave the sounds and everything a 24 out of 25. I am not the biggest fan of the constant drilling, popping sounds that you get for some of that time in the house. Um, but all their other sounds were really good, and really stuck to the theme of everything. Their scares, I gave it a 22 out of 25. They If I could separate it, I'd say for the hiding in the trail, it was like a five because you couldn't see them. But for some of the other spots in the house, I could kind of see where they were. I was kind of um walking one way, and I almost went into like the actors like scared station because I was going the wrong way. Well, because you can hardly see anything. The jump scares were good. The effort was there. The phobias were there, especially the whole being in the dark and you just don't know what's there. And actors, I gave them 15 out of 15. They were really good. I thought the actor that had that pig mask with the chainsaw that was working the crowds, he's one of my MVAs. I thought he did a really good job. And also um the guy at the beginning of the house, that time machine guy, I thought was he really set the mood for everything. He was another one of my MBAs. And was it fun? Absolutely. I gave it a 10 out of 10. So total would be 96 out of 100. I thought this was very well done and just on a different level than some other haunts that we've been to. It's just very good.
That 96 out of 100 puts that in an excellent rating, by the way.
It does, yes.
So, Abandoned. Uh, I'm gonna say driving there and going there was almost as equally as scary. because first of all, trying to show Jenna going left or right and where to go because she was almost blind and she was truly had a hard time figuring out which way she had to go, reminded me on how Milwaukeeans can never understand how a blinker works. So I just want to throw in a little shade on how people drive down there. I don't know how they even survive. And if it wasn't for the drive, I would make an abandon a go-to haunt every year. Moving on to my review. For abandoned scenery, I have 25 out of 25. It has fresh new ideas. There were multiple different rooms with different themes that I have not really seen before at haunts. I even spoke with Matt, and I told him about that. I said, "Hey, man, I love the scenery. It's great." And first of all, he said a big thank you because he's actually in charge of a lot of that. And I brought up to him, I said, "Hey, going through it, do you guys change anything? Because that's our biggest gripe with Burial Chamber, because they never change anything." He says, in fact, he changes too much. And I'm really glad to hear that. I want to take his word on that. So I'm glad to hear they do make a lot of changes. Actually going into detail, for aesthetics, I got a 5 out of 5. Actually, I don't even need to tell you, they're all 5 out of 5s. Moving on to sounds. I have a 23 out of 25. I felt like the sounds was a bit too loud. The theme was spot on with every room, though. You can hear the sounds, like, say, for example, we were in a Victorian area during the plague and such. You've heard coughing, and it was very prominent in certain corners and the rooms and corridors, which was great. And also the hotel theme. I don't know how they nailed that, but they did. The sounds were very exceptional, like I said. Atmosphere and music were spot on. I can't express it enough. I feel like when it comes to sounds, Abandon is the way to go. They did a great job. Scares. I have a 21 out of 25. A lot of it did kind of feel a little, and this is towards the last haunt. Was the last haunt not abandoned? Was the last haunt ambush? What was the last one?
I think the first house we went in was Hysteria, so whatever the
Okay,
other
so
one.
then ambush was the last one. So going through ambush, I was getting kind of burial chamber flashbacks to where it kind of seemed like a whole bunch of actors were trying to scare other people and stuff, and I could hear them and coming ahead and stuff. But I mean, then again, the group ahead of us was too damn slow, and the people behind us were too fast, so we were kind of sandwiched in between it. So I kind of get it. Other than that, effort was a 4 out of 5 there. They had a lot of great effort. Masks and makeup was a 5 out of 5. They had excellent masks and makeup. Phobias was a 3 out of 5. I didn't really pick up on any phobias. And when I'm referring to as phobias, I'm referring to obviously as arachnophobia. Whichever other phobias would be heights. I know I forgot what that's called. I should have done my research before doing that. The different phobias, but hiding was a 4 out of 5. I felt like I could have catch some people before they came up, but it was totally fine. They did great. And jump scares was a 5 out of 5. I will say this again. I've said this multiple times. If I was leading, I would have been scared a lot more than I initially was, because they were getting Jenna and they were getting her good. I thought she was going to drop to the floor at one point. Actors 14 out of 15. The energy was spot on with the 5 out of 5. How scary it was, like said, 4 out of 5. And in character was a 5 out of 5. They never broke character. I want to also address that they do put effort into their positions. What is it? Their roles, I mean to say. Because, for example, I was talking to Matt, and he said that the actors who were clowns, they actually went to clown school for that. I thought that was great. That shows some dedication, and that I had to note that. That is a great thing, and I love that. For fun, yes, it was a fun event. It was a 10 out of 10. My MVA, it had to have been, is it Cookie? Is your little heartthrob Cookie, Justin? Yeah, I had to say it's my MVA because Cookie warped Justin. Justin, I'm sure, is going to touch on it a lot more than I will, so I will shut about that, but that's how I feel about my MVA. And that gives it a grand total of 93 which is a great rating. This blows Burial Chamber out of the water.
Okay. Hi, Matt. Let's talk scenery. I have aesthetic 4, theme 4, props 4, lighting 5, continuity 3 for a grand total of 20. Sound. Volume 5, theme 4, actor sounds 4, atmosphere 4, music 4. 21 out of 25. Scares. Effort 3, mask makeup 4, phobias 4, hiding 5, jump scares 5. Grand total of 21 out of 25. Actors. Energy 4, scary 4, in character 5. Grand total of 13 out of 15. Let's talk about this. I have a lot of notes. Was it fun? Yes. Grand total, 85. I bestowed an additional 3 points for amenities and awesome special effects, including the cool firework at the start of the show. 88 out of 100 total score. Let's get into it. There's plenty of empty spaces to pad your walk time at this haunt. It is something that I understand the reason they do it, but there were plenty of times where we would walk 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 corners and not see a single actor. That was a little bit disappointing to me for such a large haunt. However, I get it, right? You have 2.5/3 20-ish minute events. I get it. There were plenty of actors who were talking with us in character, mind you, instead of trying to scare us, which is the number one goal of a haunted house. Nothing else. The number one goal of a haunted house is to scare you. Period. There are some people that would argue it's entertainment. There are some people that would argue maybe it's fundraising. It is to scare you. The sets were exceptional in every sense of the word. The sounds were solid for the most part. Props were fine. Some I've seen before at other haunts. So they were nothing outlandishly rare or weird or totally different. Some scenes, like the stripper pole room with my heartthrob cookie, I've seen before. Notably, at Burial Chamber the first time I went through. Which makes sense, since that's their sister haunt. They probably share some scenery. The actors were fun and engaging, as I've said before, even if they didn't necessarily try to scare us every single time we encountered an actor. They still worked well with what they were doing. The multi-level approach of some areas made it interesting. And while I initially had scored them 3 out of 5 on phobias, I went back and changed it to a 4 because I am afraid of heights. So they did get one of my phobias. I also saw spiders. I also saw clowns. And I saw a few other things that people could be freaked out by. Mine happens to be heights. Skeletonized walkways and I are not friends. Cookie was outstanding. My MVA. And also in the contention with Dahmer from Revenge for Actor of the Year. He/she worked us very well, stayed in character, and even cussed Jenna out without, actually cussing you out. Basically told you to shut the hell up. She's trying to flirt. I love that. And I loved how after they were done talking to you, I stuck a fist out and said, what? I don't understand. I don't know what their problem is. I got a fist bump. And they still stayed in character. It was exceptional. Very exceptional. Great actor work. I believed they were the character they were. I believed in their character fully. They completely committed to it. I also loved the scarecrow in the cornfield. This was one of the first corners of the Stalker event. Didn't even see him coming. Got right in my face and scared the shit out of me. Completely set a different tone than what I was expecting. Given I was expecting a maybe little bit better burial chamber style experience. I never saw that actor. They got me. Now, I do rate this a great on the rating scale. On a side note, our tickets for this event were comped. However, the experience we had is $55 for all 3 events with Quick Pass. That is not cheap. Then again, Lynn and I went to a movie last week. And for us two in a movie and some treats, it was $50. On a side note, I got to meet Jape's Palace. His Lost Souls tour happened to be stopping at Abandon that night, and I got to meet somebody who I hold in pretty high regards, especially in the haunt community. It doesn't affect the review, but it made me realize how insanely lucky I am, and how lucky all of us are to be able to do this and live the life that we do. I was watching a scare acting episode of Haunt Topic Radio like 2 weeks ago, listening to this guy talk for hours, listened to it probably 6 times now, and then literally 2 weeks later I get to meet the guy in person. I mean, dude, sometimes I wonder if like this is the Truman Show, except for me. I mean, you are all watching this video right now. Overall, the show at Abandon was good. Really good. Great. Good scares. A really banging intro. And it was exactly what I expected a Rising to be. I would go again in 3 years or so, considering we have a 2.5 hour drive. I'm going to touch on that in a moment. My schedule sucks. So if you're watching this video going, Justin, should we go? Yeah. Plan a weekend around it. Get a hotel. Go to Abandon. Go to Hill Has Eyes if you want to. Go to Terror on Rural Street if you want to. Go hit all the haunts in the area. There's plenty to see down there. I would say if you live within an hour of Abandon and you're a haunted house connoisseur, you're going to this event every year because it's awesome. How long was the haunt? About an hour. I'd say about an hour. Each haunt runs roughly 20 minutes, depending on whether or not Jenna can find the right way. It's 2.5 free attractions. $55, while it seems expensive, is fair. Especially when you consider Quick Pass and you consider you're not there for 3 hours. Because I could see some of those lines getting pretty damn lengthy. Now, my brother made some notes on my review because he likes to be the contrarian. He says $200 for a couple between gas, food, drinks, and 2 Quick Pass tickets seems kind of expensive. It seems crazy. And I said it's not any crazier than spending $300 on a hotel room while you go up north and go hiking somewhere. So it all depends on what you want to spend your entertainment money on. And my brother then proceeded to ask me, well, we have Revenge Haunt and Realm of Darkness 20 minutes from Green Bay. Why the hell should I drive down to Abandon for anything? And he makes a really good point. You can have a quick night at either of those haunts, be home, be in bed, and be to work in the morning if you're like me, or if you're like you guys, you ain't got a lot of stress on your shoulders, right? Hey, cool. I maintain variety is the spice of life. And that's one of my favorite parts about the haunted house scene in Wisconsin right now, is we have so many different haunted houses, you really don't have to go to the same 3 haunts every single year. It's good to mix it up, and I think that's important. The gift shop was awesome. Their prices don't seem ridiculous. They seem fair. I really enjoyed it. And it actually, not only did they get me to buy a hat, but I bought my girlfriend some cute stuffed animals too. It says something, right? You don't walk in there and feel like, oh, it's just a bunch of greedy assholes. I walked in there and I felt, man, I'm welcome here and I'm valued as a customer. I liked that. If I'm reviewing this with the $55 quick pass ticket price in my mind, yes, I'd go again. Yes, you should go. If you haven't already, give them a shot. I think Abandoned's excellent, and I think it's scary. And yeah, I scored him 88 out of 100. Great show. I enjoyed it. And I would go again in probably 2 to 3 years' time. How's that for a fucking review?
Can you stop blowing us out of the water? Abandon is a bucket list haunt that you should go to if you're a Wisconsinite. That is for sure. It is a must go to.
My advice, like I said, plan a weekend around it. Because driving 2.5 down, going to the event, driving 2.5 back in the same night sucks. There's no way to make that, there's no way to cushion that or make that a better experience. That sucks. Especially when, if you had to work earlier that day or if you have to work the next day. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna, final thoughts.
If you are afraid of the dark, just you might want to not lead. I don't know. Like, you gotta kind of be fearless with it. I was walking around like this, not covering my eyes, but just so I wouldn't run into anything unknowingly because you just can't see anything, which I've kind of gotten used to being the leader at most of these haunts. It does make it very thrilling. Like, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great, and I would go again. Yeah.
Gage, final thoughts.
I'm glad you brought up the cornfield because that's not a lot of things that you see at haunts. The only time I have seen it was at the Dominion of Terror, I believe, in Sheboygan. You've seen it elsewhere?
It's a great way to maintain the illusion that, that you're not in a contained space, which you actually are.
I just love that addition. I really think some other haunts should start including that in their walkthroughs. So that's my final thoughts.
I want to take a moment and I want to thank the owner, Corey, for having us. I want to thank Matt for reaching out and for pestering us year after year after year to come down and review Abandoned. And I mean that in the best sense of the word. We really appreciate that. Thank you for getting us to come down. I was pleasantly surprised with my experience, as I think we all were. And I really enjoyed Abandoned Haunted House Complex. And, you know, there's a lot of imitators popping up around the state. Now that they see that haunted houses are all the rage, and everybody wants to know, should I go here? Should I go there? Is Terror on the Fox worth it this year? And everybody wants to start reviewing haunted houses all of a sudden. But you just need to remember one thing. If it ain't Is It Scary, it ain't shit. Gage, what do the viewers want to know?
If there's merch, yes there is. Check the link down below. There's also social medias like Instagram and Is It Scary Wisconsin.
Have a good night.